Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Walaikum assalam. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing wonderful. Excited to be back. We have Jisan with us today,
Yes,
our
I'm
career
there.
advisor. All right, you're there. I hope this batch is going well. We have 5 students. I think few more will join, right? So we'll wait 5 more minutes. Thank you guys for putting an effort and time to do the homework. I'm glad. I've checked them. I have not got time to provide my feedback, but most of you have done good. At least I wanted to get you guys started to collect information and data and started looking into things. You were able to do it, so I'm glad I'll do that. Today we'll be discussing about some great stuff today. You'll be taking a look at how design, BDD, requirement document, agile versus waterfall. All right. Hello everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. Give me some hi and hello. Give me some words. But everybody can hear me, right? Everybody's active. You guys are not sleeping in the couch and talking to me and doing the class, right?
Yep.
Yes, we can hear you.
Mr. Yunus, starting with you. Tell me what is SDLC?
Software development lifecycle.
What do we mean by that? What is software development lifecycle? There are new people today. 4 new people have joined at 3. They are here for the first time. We have done the class. In the last class, we talked about software development lifecycle. Why don't you explain us today? What is SDLC in your layman term to the audience? Let's say you are trying to make us understand what is software development lifecycle.
The way I see it, the software development lifecycle is the phases the software application goes through.
All right. What are the phases?
So the phases is so requirement gathering, then you do the analysis, design, coding, testing, which is our part, and then the deployment.
Okay. Now, do you understand each of them? What is requirement gathering? So you are saying the software development life cycle is a life cycle. Everything has a life cycle. So software development has a life cycle. It has multiple phases, right? Right? We don't just develop software. It's not just one thing. We do things in different stages, different phases. And the first phase is collecting of the requirement gathering. Right here we can see you. Good. So, right, could you explain the phases a little bit? Like, what do we do during the requirement gathering phase? What do we mean by requirement gathering?
Yeah, so pretty much for the requirements, that's just the requirements, in my opinion, is the way all the necessary things for the application. So what the application needs based on whoever we're making the application for.
Right. So who's making the application here? Who's the stakeholder? Who's the owner of the application?
So it's not the product manager, right?
The very first stage or phase is called requirement gathering. So that means someone is gathering all the requirements, and requirements are the list of the things that we want to make the software, right? The list of the things that we want to do when we build the software. So that requirements, what you need to do, someone needs to gather the requirements. So my question is, from who and who gathers? So explain that.
So the person who gathers it is the business analyst.
Business analyst.
Yes.
So who is business analyst? A person within the team.
Yes.
So that is a business analyst. So business analyst gathers the requirements from the stakeholder. Stakeholder is the client. Whoever wants to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So good. Let's say you are a BA now. Let's say we're a team, right? You are the BA. Once you gather the requirement, how do you gather? I mean, what do you mean by gathering?
So we speak directly with the stakeholder, right, for the requirements. And by gathering is you're pretty much notating and you're making a document with all the requirements.
So you are asking questions to the stakeholder, right?
You're asking questions, you're taking their input, their feedback, and you're writing it all down.
Right. So you do a lot of meetings. Let's say if Mr. Sheikh is the stakeholder here, right? He wants to build an app, let's say, okay? Because I'm trying to give you a practical scenario, otherwise you won't be able to picture it. This is exactly what happened. Someone bring you both in a meeting, introduce you that you are the stakeholder, you are the BA, and what would be your first move then? You set up a meeting with him because you don't know him. You send him an email, set up a meeting with him, and during the first meeting, what did you do?
So am I the BA or Sheikh the BA?
You are the BA. He's
I'm
the
BA.
stakeholder.
I think the first question is, what's your goal? What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to create?
Right. And Mr. Sheikh will give you all the information that I run a business. Maybe I run a flight company, right? I want to build an iPhone apps. That's the software I want to build. I want to build an app where customer will be able to book the flight tickets, just like Expedia. We all know Expedia, right? Maybe he is into travel business. Now you got the clue, right? Now what you're gonna do? You're gonna ask him a lot of questions, a lot of meetings too.
Yeah.
That's the first part of requirement gathering. Because in one meeting, he's a business owner. He maybe give you 1 hour. So one meeting, you take all the notes. Then you go back to your office and then maybe organize the notes in a document. Then what's next? How many meetings? Maybe a few meetings, right? And then you gathered all the notes, multiple meetings, multiple notes. Now you have a hands full of notebooks. Done. All the requirements are gathered. You have captured his brain. That is requirement. Requirement is something what's in his head about the software. Everything, every piece, the complete product. But when you gather that, you gather part by part, because there is no way of just scan his head and everything will be written in a piece of paper, right? So capturing his brain is very crucial part within the software development team. Because if you capture it wrong, you will build the entire wrong product. You'll develop it, you'll design it wrong, you will develop it wrong, you will test it wrong. Okay, right? You agree? So understanding the requirement is a major part. Understanding the requirement from the client is BA's job. That's what BA is trained for. But now when you got the note ready, what would you do when you go back to your office? I have a question, Raina Kadir. Go ahead, sister.
In my experience, I saw that product owners are doing the job for the BAs. So is it the same term as the product owner and the business analyst? I mean, are they doing the same thing or there's a difference between their roles?
Well, I want to give you a fresh start. Trust me, I'm forget about all the book stuff. The books is books. Books are grammars, but let's...
Not the books. I just saw in my team that the product owners are doing the same thing as you said the BAs are doing. So is there any specific difference between these two roles, or they're just all...
Right. The product owner is not here. Product owner, let's say Mr. Sheikh is a product owner. He's the stakeholder, right?
Okay.
Maybe he works for the business department of some company. Product owner is the stakeholder. Either the stakeholder himself will come, or the stakeholder assign somebody from his side who will hold the stack, and we call that person as product owner. Let's say I'm the CEO of a company. I am actually the stakeholder. I am financing it, but I don't have time to work with a team like you. I made him my product owner. Now he has the stake. He knows everything. Now he goes to Mr. Yunus, right? Now the product owner and the business analyst meeting together, Mr. Yunus will connect all the requirements from his head. Then my question, now what are you gonna do? Produce some sort of document, right? Now, what kind of document are you gonna produce?
So it's the business requirements document.
If you do waterfall development.
Oh, okay.
See, that's the path I want to develop. So, Miss Raina, are you already working as a QA? That's what you said?
Yeah, I worked before.
You worked it before. You need... Okay, good. So you have some experience. It'll be beneficial for us. Ms. Raina, did you follow the waterfall model or agile?
Agile.
Maybe when you get a job, maybe you follow waterfall. If they follow waterfall, then what you have to do is collect all the requirements at once, then produce big document of BRD and FRD, and then do what?
Once the document is created, then you pass that off to the designer.
Yeah, how do you pass?
I guess you would have to have a meeting with the designer.
So can we say the software development life cycle, right? The requirement gathering and documentations. That's what you probably explained. Good. And first you gather, then you create documentation based on waterfall or agile. If your company follow waterfall, then you do FRD or BRD. If your company doesn't do waterfall, they do agile, then you don't do these big documentations anymore. what do you do? Miss Raina, what did you used to do?
We used to have the meeting with the designers and...
No, I'm saying requirements. Where do you write the requirements? We call them product backlogs, right?
Yes, sir.
And
The
then
backlog.
user stories.
Yeah, from the user story, we converted it into the backlogs and then...
Good, guys. Now, I'm just gonna give you guys clue. I'm not here to spoon feed you guys, okay? I'm giving you you need to learn about it. So now you know that in the Agile, we don't call FRD or BRD anymore. We call it product backlogs and user stories. But you should be doing, after today's class, learning that online, exactly the way you did, okay? So we will be doing this class and learning at the same time. So you're not going to get a job in waterfall. That's just gone 10 years ago. It's all agile now. So we don't typically do FRD and BRD. But however, I want you to at least get an idea from Google that how does an FRD document look like. In the next class, I'm gonna show you one. But then again, you need to learn how to collect requirement and how to produce product backlog and how to write user stories in Agile and documentation. This documentation part in Agile, we do this way. We create product backlogs and we create user stories. User stories are called small piece of the requirement. So unlike FRD or BRD, FRD is a document, a Microsoft document where we will list all the requirements, versus user story is a small piece of requirement, independent, small. That's the only difference between user story of writing a document and BRD style of writing a document. But both are requirement gathering and documentation. Depending on waterfall or agile, what methods of software development you follow, you might document it differently, right? The tone is different. Okay, good. So we will learn user stories. Very important, because when you guys are all going to be QA, regardless you're going to be a QA, BA or developer, when you get a project, all the requirements that you get to see will be in these formats. User stories. Now you are a QA engineer. Do you need to write user stories or do you need to understand how to write those user stories? Yes or no? No, you don't. The business analyst will need to write. Go ahead.
Are the user stories, if I'm not mistaken, I believe you showed it to us last week in was it called, like, it was where you log all the stuff for all the people on the team? I can't remember what it was called. You showed it to us. It was where you have all your projects logged?
Right,
So
Jira. Jira is the tool.
Jira. So is that where you would put the user stories in the backlog?
Right. Jira is the tool for all artifacts management. Whether it is a user story, whether it is a test case, it's a defect. There are multiple documentation and artifacts software development team produces to document and share information. And Jira is the tool that we'll be learning to do all of them, different things. User stories are one type of things, which is requirements. User stories are requirements in Agile, but they call user story. The difference is they're small pieces of requirements and they will be found in Jira, of course. Good. So as a QA, we don't need to learn how to write them, but we need to know how to understand them, because remember, understanding the requirement is very important for us, for all of us, to build the right product and to test the right product. So we want testers to be expert on understanding the requirement, right? So first of all, when you start a project, so requirement analysis happens. Requirement gathering is the first stage, right? I get that. All right, let's do it. Within the requirement gathering, if this is a bigger stage, what's the first step we do? Product backlog creation, product backlog, user story writing in Jira. Who does that? BA does that, right? Then the second part would be requirement analysis, right? Now that the Jira is ready, actually Jira writes like that, all capital. Jira is a tool from Atlassian, right? We will give you Jira tool to try later. We're gonna do all our hands-on work. For me, just to show you, something like that. It will be, so it's a tool. Once you get the job in a company, they will give you the email ID and password. And then you log in and you will be able to see all the user stories in some place. They will tell you where, right? Then what is your job? Requirement analysis. You have the requirement in Jira. Now you need to analyze. Now my question, smart question to you, who can answer? What we have to do now? What do we mean by requirement analysis? Is that we have to read, or we have to print out and, ask more questions, or all of them? What do you guys think by requirement analysis? Or the question is, how do we do, or how did you do requirement analysis in your last job, right? That could be an interview question. You need to be able to answer it. So tell me.
It's an analysis step, so it involves reading the requirement, getting into it, and also to test the feasibility of whether we're doing it or not. Sometimes, if we consider the release phases, sometimes they're not needed in this phase. So for this release, maybe we can postpone it for the next release. So these kind of analysis, this kind of feasibility studies, all is inside the requirement analysis.
Ms. Rana, thank you so much. I understood your answers. Right. When they will ask you this in an interview, this is the time for you to sell yourself, right? If I were you, whatever you said is good, that you will read that. She said that you have to read. Analysis start with reading. First, you need to read everything, right? In Jira. That's the first step of analyzing the requirements. If you don't read, how would you analyze? I would sell myself. I would say, I would read 3 times. Just to understand. I'm the type of guy that reads things 3 times just to make sure I don't leave anything behind. You see, you go next level of selling yourself. So read 3 times. First time, you're not gonna understand everything. Second time, you'll be like, oh yeah, now it makes sense. And also in the interview, if you tell them this way, then they believe that you are the guy who go into details. Remember, for QA, we need details-oriented people, right? So requirement analysis starts with reading. And then what? And then Ms. Rana said feasibility study, essentially saying that, is this requirement really doable? Is this requirement testable? Yes, those are the questions you will ask. But most importantly, what happens in practically? Those are booked, but you need to sell it. Everybody answered those questions. But what do you need to tell them? That, hey, listen, in my last project, when I get the requirement, I read 3 times, I printed out, I again read, and I took notes that this part I don't understand, and then I followed up with the BA. I set up a meeting privately and I asked for a clarification. Based on my question, business analysts had to give me more clarification. And this is how I came to a conclusion of understanding the whole thing, right? And that's exactly makes you difference, that you know how to get it. And why am I saying this? Because I've been a program manager of QA. What I saw in my career, not a lot of QA engineers have guts to do this. They just wait. They don't know where to go. So I need to see that you are the guy or girl who gets the clarity they need. So there's an option for selling yourself here. The requirement analysis. Essentially, what we're doing is understanding the requirement, asking for clarity to who? BA, and BA gives us the clarity. That's how we understand the requirement. Okay, so same goes for tester, same goes for designer, same goes for developers.
So my question is, are the QAs involved in this phase? I mean, this is a requirement phase, right? So
I mean, if you are in Agile, we are not talking about waterfall. Like I said, you have to learn waterfall, but nobody follows waterfall anymore.
Of course, yeah,
so when you do Agile, then this product backlog review happens, right? Scrum review happens. And you as a QA, you do the same as the other team members. You have to read the user stories, right? You have to analyze in the Jira, right? So yes, does that make sense?
Yeah.
You don't do that in your job? I mean, when you used to work?
We started the shift left strategy, so we started the testers from the design phase. We were involved from the design phase, how the developers design.
All right, so okay, good. So design phase, I'm coming. Perfect. But not a lot of company, not all the company will produce those beautiful design that gives you all the understanding you need, right? Regardless, when you write the test cases, you need to read the user stories and understand. Without having proper understanding, you won't be able to be a good tester, right?
Right.
Good. So understand it. Then, and in Agile, how we do requirement analysis, I'm in a sense of backlog review, we'll learn. But now you know, right? I didn't teach you this in the last class. Now you know a little step better. What's next, guys? So this is the first phase of my SDLC. Regardless of waterfall and agile, we do things differently, but this is the first stage. Once we understand and analyze and capture all the requirement in the tool of Jira, now we are ready to move on to the design phase. Now, what do we do in the design phase, Mr. Yunus? And don't just gonna say now we're gonna design. Yeah, we all know. we need layman understanding. Go ahead.
Okay, so they pretty much, I would say, without using the word design, I would say they come up with a template for the actual developers, right? I don't know how to say it without design, right? They come up with the format or the template, what it's gonna look like for the developers.
Good stuff, yes. What does designing means? How does design start? Let's say, all right, if you want to design a house, right? Let's say certainly you hit the lotto and or whatever.
You need a blueprint.
You need a blueprint, right? So what do you mean by a blueprint? What would you do first? Let's say I gave you the requirement to build my house. I want 4 bedrooms, 3 balcony, 2 bathrooms. These are my requirements. And my living room is to be 20 feet long. You see, I'm giving you the requirements for my house. Now, it's just on paper, right? When you start designing that, design could be different based on the same requirement I gave you. You can come up with 5 different designs on the same requirements. We need to be visibly designing it. Where does that start? Scratching in a piece of paper?
Where does the designing start? Yeah, I'm not too sure where it starts.
Same thing. I mean, the design starts like this, in a paper and a pencil, right? Because it's design. How would it start? Like here, or in a software like Illustrator, same thing, right? Some UX designer, who designs? UX designer. The role is UX designer, right? So this is BA, and then the UX designer, the UX or UI designer, UX UI design. This is exactly the name of the role in the industry. You can become one. If you want to become a designer, you can still get a job with a software team. So this person will create the design. So first, scratch. Second, something called blueprint, and we call it wireframe, right? Wireframe is something like you produce. Then finally creates a draft design. And are you ready to take a look at a design document? I'm gonna show you. And this is how your QA class will be more interesting. Okay, just give me 1 second. Wonderful. So what do you see here? NetJet is a company, and this is their iPhone apps design. Do you know what NetJet is? It's an US-based company, Airways. It sells shares to the private business jets. So it's like a private Uber, okay? World's leading private jet company for the rich people. Just the way you can call a taxi over an apps, you can call a plane over an apps if you're rich, right? Do you think it's possible? You guys don't know, maybe you're not there yet. So, but one day, okay? Yes, there is a company, inshallah, there's a company where you literally download the apps and it works like Uber. Let's say you want to call your jets in LaGuardia Airport, you book it through your apps and it'll be there in 6 hours to pick you up and drop you into California, right? So this is a great company, and I had opportunity to build the apps when they were building, right, as part of a Microsoft project. And I'm going to show you the exact design document, what we have used before we build the app. So it's gonna give you guys idea of how thing works. So you see that they are a great company, learn about NetJets, but this is their iPhone apps. If you go to iPhone application, if you go to App Store and try to download NetJets, you'll be able to download the NetJets. But in 2014, we were designing that, right? A lot of times ago, but let's take a look as an example. In Agile, we develop product part by part. This is what I've discussed in the last meeting, last class, part by part. And every part, every iteration, we call sprint 1, right? Every iteration is 2 weeks. Does that make sense? Sprint 1 is 2 weeks. We are saying that in sprint 1, out of the whole flight booking application, we will be developing login, navigation, and flight list functionality. So here's a sample. You see, the apps is not there yet. This is the design we developed before we develop the apps. So let's take a look first, right? This is the home page, and when somebody opens the app, it asks for the user ID and the password, right? So it has an authentication. Not anybody can log in. You have to create an account with them first. You have to be one of those rich guys. If you buy the subscription, then only you'll be able to log in. Then once you log in this, from this home screen, you can go to different places. Either you put the information to log in, or you can click the reset password button, right? Two different things. If you put the right email and the right password and click login, what did it do? It would log you in. Now, going back, if you forgot your user ID and password and you click this little guy, little link, hey, right here, reset password, it will come to this face and say that put your email address and submit. So we can send you a temporary password, which is here. An email has been sent to this. Please follow the link in that email to complete your reset password. Does that make sense? You see how requirements is getting converted to a visible design. Now, for us, for QA, for developer, for everybody within the team, it makes way more sense right now to understand that what apps we are going to develop. So the design phase is very important. What we are doing right now is design analysis. The requirement gathering and then requirement analysis, understanding the requirement, reading, asking questions, getting clarifications. Same thing for the design phase. Within the design phase, the designer will create the design, fresh scratch, wireframing, and then a visible design like this. Then the design analysis happens. So it is our job as a QA to understand the design by doing design analysis, a design document analysis. Now, so if you log in, going back, understanding the requirements, right? If you log in here, so now there could be two scenarios, right? So let's say you never booked a flight before through this app. This is the first time you're logging in. That's one scenario. And then there could be a scenario you just booked a flight yesterday and now you're checking in, you're logging in again. So two scenarios. One is flight booked and one is flight not booked. Depending on that, the app should show you different stuff, right? So if you have not booked a flight yet and you logged in, then the apps is saying book a new flight. And if you already booked a flight, you are seeing the flight information at your homepage. Does that make sense? All right.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
Now, great. Now, you guys are what? Designer? No, you guys are testers. Your job is to test this every single requirement. This is what I just said. This is the client requirements. Who said that? Who gave you this requirement? If you have not booked a flight, it says Paris is always a good idea. Quotation. Why this quotation is there? Any other quotation is not there. Why specifically this quotation is there? Who gave this requirement? Who wanted it? The stakeholder. And business analyst exactly captured. When requirement gathering happened, business analyst said, if there is no flight booked, what would you like to show in the screen? And Mr. Sheikh said, I want this great code to be there. So this is how requirement captured, documented, turning into a design. Now, once we design, we also need to develop the apps. Now we are at design phase. Let's say we are understanding the design, and I'm the designer, or I'm the BA. I'm explaining to you guys that two scenarios. One flight booked, one flight not booked. If flight booked, then my apps not gonna show Paris is always a good idea, but it's gonna show the next flight that I booked, that information. What time is the departure? What time is the arrival? And if I did not book a flight, then it's gonna show me book a flight and Paris is a good idea. Now, the tester guys, we guys, let's say we will be responsible for testing this. How would you write the test cases? What would be your test? Who can answer that? Tell me a couple of testing that you'll do.
See if you can log in.
Log in with the wrong email or right email?
Both.
No, one test you can do in each test you could do one thing, right? So
okay.
Tell me step by step, what would be your first test? So there will be a series of tests, not one test, right? You need to test every possible scenarios, every different thing. So each test is called a test case. First, you need to write the test steps. Then you need to do the testing. We'll get into that, right? But you need to do a lot of testing. Okay, so tell me, first you need to test the login. All right, so login as if what? That wrong user also can log in? Then it's okay with you?
No, so yeah, so I would use a incorrect email to make sure that it does not log in.
Right, so you are saying that test number 1, you'll be testing, you'll be putting a random email and then random password or the right password?
I would say, because it's the wrong email, I would also just put a random password, just to make sure.
Wrong email and wrong password. All of them are wrong. What should be the result you're expecting?
The result I want is for it to say invalid username or invalid password and not allow me to log in.
So that's your test number 1, right? Wrong user and wrong password. Click in this button and I expect to see that it did not log in because both of the data are wrong. That's how I know my test passed. This is called a negative test. Okay, how do you know that now that if you put the right email and wrong password, before you put wrong email and wrong passwords, but what if you put the right email and wrong password and click login and it's logged in? Is that okay?
No.
No, it's not.
Right, so you need to do the testing or not?
Yes.
Good. So you got 2 tests. 1 login feature, you got 2 tests. Test case 1, wrong email, wrong password. Test case 2, right email, wrong password. Now test case 3, right password, wrong email. All these 3 tests needs to give you the same result, that user weren't able to log in. If you can do these 3 tests, then I would tell that, okay, yes, we have tested all the possible scenarios.
A quick question.
All the possible negative test cases. What would be the positive ones?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
So are we right now dealing with an app or the website?
Same thing, right? What's the difference? Either it's an app or it's a website. Your testing concept remains the same, right?
Okay. I mean outcomes. Sure, you're right.
It's like you are driving an SUV or you're driving a sedan. Driving is the same concept. You put the gear, you turn the steering right or wrong or left, something like that. Understand that. You see, this is practical. A lot of people will start teaching you from the books like SDLC, ESTLC. Forget about that. We'll come to that later, but understand. So what would be the right positive testing?
So that would be to put the right email and right password and press login to actually log into the system, log into the application.
So for 1 user story, how many tests is being done right now? 4. 3 negative, 1 positive. Right. That's why we need a lot of testers, because building something is one thing, but we need to definitely test that feature from many different aspects. Mainly negative testing and positive testing. These are the 2 major types of testing concepts we need to follow when we write test cases or prepare test cases.
So as testers, we work with both websites and the apps, right?
Apps, of course.
Mainly apps or both apps and websites?
That really depends on the projects.
Sure.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions? Now, anybody's asking questions? I can hear you. You need to volume up a little bit. Now, moving on, let's understand a functional testing, functional requirements. There are a lot of different types of testings we need to understand. So, what's the next testing, Mr. Yunus? Because I only can see you, bro, and I'm asking you all these questions. I mean, or Mr. Sheikh.
No, it's okay. I'll take the questions.
This is a great question. The login feature has been tested. We got 4 test cases against that. What's the next testing you're gonna do?
I would see personally, even back to the first, the first page you were on, I would even test to see if the reset password.
All right, what would be the test cases for that?
So first, what I would do is I would do a negative with the incorrect email, see if I receive an email for an incorrect email to reset my password. I would put in the email of an account that does not exist.
Random email.
A random email, and see if I receive that email.
But before that, should we test that we are in the page that reset password? We should have the field of putting the email address, all these fields and UI items of it.
But yes, I heard the the first part of it. First, you put a negative email, which is not registered, and which is not registered, and then you put the email here. Tell me the step by step. What's the first step?
First step is actually click the button. Click the reset.
No, the first step is actually open the app. So
open the app. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Tell me. So when you write the test case, you write step number 1, step number 2, step number 3. You need to write it. So I want to teach you a step from the beginning. So that okay, open the app.
Yeah, step number 1, open the app. Step number 2, click the reset password button.
This is not a button. This is a link. Just say that reset password. Good. Then
reset password. Okay, so that was step number 2. Now, step number 3, put in the email, the negative email, you would say, right? The incorrect email. That's so.
Like whatever, abcd@gmail.com. Exactly. Just put in this email, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right. Then click submit.
Click submit.
And then?
Next step is to see if you have received the email.
How do you see? Tell me, explain. What's the next step? You actually go to that email inbox and open that email.
Yes. So you log into the email account.
Right.
You check to see if you received an email to reset your password.
Exactly. Now you're talking. This is how you need to write. This is another skill. We understand a lot of things, right? We know what to do, but when at times come to write the test cases, we don't know how to write step by steps. But you have to do it, right? This is your job.
So we have to be very specific because of what you're saying, right?
So writing test cases means that you are writing step by step direction for someone else. Let's say you produce the test cases and someone can execute and understand by reading it what to do. All right.
So you have to put yourself in the person who's reading it. You have to put yourself in their shoes.
Exactly. Baby steps. So we will be able to run, upcoming classes. You will be able to practice those writing test cases. I'm glad that you understood. So what would be the positive scenario here?
I think we could give that to Mr. Sheikh. I'm the negative. He's
Mr. Sheikh, go ahead.
Okay, so to get the positive scenario, you have to put a email address which has an account and press submit to get the email in your account, and open your email and to see that if there is a link in the email to get the password reset or not.
This is amazing. But now my question, who's going to give you that email that is already registered, right? So you need an email that is already registered, already client has an account with it. Now this data is called what? Someone needs to give you that. But actually someone has an account with this email. Someone needs to give you that. Otherwise, you won't be able to do this positive testing. Is that right or wrong?
That is correct. But at this moment, there wouldn't be an account because the product is not launched yet. We are still testing. So there could be
you're not testing right now.
Dummy account.
You're not testing right now. You are analyzing the design document and writing test cases as if you are preparing for future. Like how would you test when the apps become live? But when the app becomes live, if somebody doesn't give you a real account, would you be able to do this testing done? Answer is no. So this is tester's job to collect the test data that you need to do the testing. So what we're saying right now, we're saying that a QA or a tester participates in requirement analysis, design analysis, test cases writings, and test data collections, right or wrong. That's the only way you will be able to do your testing later. It's all part of your job. Tester's job is not just testing. Oh, gives me the app, let me log in, let me see if I... No.
Testers, can you repeat that?
Tester's job is to prepare the test cases. But when you prepare the test cases, the test data will come, and sometime you need to collect these test data from a different team, from the DBA, database administrator. In the interview, they'll ask you that, what did you do? How was your life as a tester? You're gonna say, oh, I read the documents, I've done requirement analysis, I read it 3 times, asked for clarification. Then I participated in design review documents, meetings. I understood the design, and then I started writing my test cases depending on positive, negative. I realized that I need certain data, test data, to be able to execute those test cases. Then I have sent a request to the DBA team for those test data, because you're dependent on this. This is how you need to be able to explain day-to-day activities.
I have a quick question, because obviously we would be testing it before it's live. While we're testing it, and I get what Sheikh was saying, so pretty much you're trying to use a real login, but it's not live yet, so there's technically no real logins, right? Is that when we're reaching out to the database for them to give us accounts that they've made already?
This is a very good question. I love that. Now, all right, good. Now I was able to make you guys think that. Perfect. I love it. So let's understand. Remember, we were going phase by phase. The first, requirement gathering. When design review is happening, then you are doing basically design analysis here, right? Understanding the design, like we're doing right now. So we are understanding the design, and we're coming up with all these questions that positive, negative, now that I can see. Now, when the next module is coding and development, because during the design time, the apps is not done yet. You cannot do testing, but then you are preparing for future testing, writing test cases. And now you are understanding. But when the coding and development is going on, who does that? Programmers, right? Coders. Now active and coding. But what are you doing as a QA? Tell me. During this time, what are you doing?
Look at the design. I would look at the design.
Right. You already did.
Okay.
You understood that. You just did. Now.
Okay.
You kind of made up your mind. We just discussed about it. That what would be the positive, what would be the negative. You identified that in your mind by analyzing or looking at the design. Now, let's say design is done, development started, coders are coding. Now, can you write the test cases, right? You already identify, you kind of know what to write, right?
Okay.
So this is when the developers are coding, you are busy preparing the test cases, positive and negative. What are you writing these test cases? Can you tell me? What tools? Jira. You see, BA writes user stories in Jira, and we write test cases in Jira. This is done by testers. Now what? Are you going to just write test cases? You're going to do one more thing. Just I said, test data collection. You also need to do during the test case writing time, right? This is while the coding is going on, you're taking all this preparation. Then what? Once the coding is done, the software is ready, then it gets deployed, final deployment, the code gets deployed to QA environment for you to test. Now there is an understanding here. So the developments are coding. The developers are coding. Very important thing for you to understand right now. If you understand this today, your foundation is done. I'm sure you understood until this point. And until this point, it was not technical. It was all understanding the document, coming up with test cases. Now that development has started, development means writing code. Developers will develop this app into their own laptop or own environment and they will host that into a server while you are preparing the test cases. But once the development is done, they will deploy the code into first your environment, QA environment, and you'll build the code, and that's how you're going to do all the testing there. Once the testing pass, that's when exactly the final deployment happened to the production environment, to the real customer.
The testing interface for us is Jira for the most part, basically, right?
Jira is for writing the documentation part, artifacts management, test case, defects, right? Not code management, requirement management, user stories, test cases.
Test cases are hand-to-hand, just practical.
Hand-to-hand.
I see. So what do we do with Jira again? Can you repeat?
Jira is a tool where we write the user requirements, user stories, we store test cases, we store defects, we log defects, and then we create the maps between requirement, test cases, and defects, right? It's the tool where we write and produce all the documentation for the projects, software projects. If it's not Jira, what's the other tool you can use to write the documentation? Microsoft Word, PDF, Google Drive. But that's not ideal for software development.
We use a Confluence.
Confluence is Jira, right? It's the same tool, same company,
No, not the
Atlassian.
same. Yeah, from Atlassian, but not the same tool. Yeah.
So it comes by the bundle. So
Yeah.
when you buy in a corporation, when you buy Jira, they also have Confluences. Right.
I just have one question. I'm just a little confused about testing the data collection. Can you just explain that part just a little more?
Right. Okay. So data collection based on when you write all the test cases, you kind of know by that time that what data you need, right? For each test case, right? What data you need. Yeah, this is a good question because they ask you, like, how did you do the test data collection, or how did you get the test data that you need for your project? They ask you this question. So you have a database. Here, you have a server, right? Production server. So within the server, it is a computer. The data are stored into tables, and tables are within a database. So DB, I'm gonna write DB. These database are also softwares to organize the data in a structured way. But it's sitting in a server, right? Server is a big computer. So somehow, somewhere, there is a big server computer. And within the server computer, there are database software installed, like Oracle, Microsoft Server, something like that. And the data are stored within that software. How do I collect the data from this database? Sometime, let's say you working in a software team right here, you are a tester, right? Sometime, most of the time, you're not going to have the access because this is a secure place. It is maintained, the whole thing, whole server thing is maintained by one kind of engineer is called what? DBA, right? DBA, that's a role. Just like BA, this is DBA. Anybody know what it stands for?
Database analyst.
Database administrator, but good try. Database administrator, DBA. So the guy who knows Oracle, the guy who knows this, all how to manage this server and the database becomes DBA. So every company has server and every company has DBA. So this is a guy, right? Whoever it is. Most of the time during the design phase, when you have the visibility what data you need to send him an email, right? That I need this data for this sprint to test because I have these test cases. Now, either it could be an email communication or there could be a request raised in Jira, ticket request. You open a ticket and you put all the requests into that ticket in Jira and assign this guy. So Jira becomes the tool to manage all these things rather than getting lost in email inbox. You see? So Jira is the tool that makes your software development easy. All the artifacts. Artifacts means documentation. When you ask for this data, it's also a document, right? Where you're writing that I have this test cases, so I need a user account what is already registered. I need this. So it is a document, artifact. So you can use Jira to open a test data request and assign to the DBA. If they ask you this question in the interview, you just need to answer this nicely. Does that make sense?
Can you give an example of what type of data you would be asking for?
Test data, all the user IDs, dates, emails, password, phone numbers, address, right? These are the data.
Gotcha.
Users data, requesting the test data, how the test data request. There is a server and there is a guy called DBA who manages the server. This is a role. In your company, there DBA means database administrator. One role, some sort of engineer who are responsible for managing the server and the database and everything. So you as a tester, you need to...
One more time, what is DBA?
Database administrator, engineer who is responsible for maintaining the database. So you need to raise a request to him via email, either email or Jira. If you are writing down for...
What are Jira?
Jira is a tool.
What is the other one?
Email. I said email.
Oh, I see.
So
speak very fast.
Can the QA have the access to create their own test data? Like these are like mock data, right? So is he allowed to create the test data like the email address? He can create an account
I don't want you to say that during interview.
No.
Yes, a lot of time you do have the access, but then they will ask you further questions.
Like,
tell me how do you get the data? Tell me the SQL queries and all these, right?
okay. Yeah.
So simple answer that in my last company, that was the process. I was a QA, there was a DBA. I just simply sent them the request that these are the test data I need.
Oh.
So I think
test data requirements, we also put that in Jira.
Right. You can also put the request in Jira. Yes. All right. I see. I'm going a little fast, I guess, but no worries. It will all blend in, and you guys will be able to draw the bigger picture in few more classes. So now, once the development is done, then they deploy it to QA, and then QA happens. Then they deploy it to production. Now, let's conceptually understand this concept. So we have one server we call dev environment. Then we have another server, same server, we call QA environment for code. We have another server which is actual server, which is production or P. Okay, this is actually customer sees. This is like www.netjet.com, actual one that we reveals to the customer. It comes here. But definitely I just don't write the code here. Right? It can destroy the entire server. So when developer write code, let's say this is a developer, they write code into their laptops, right? Their laptops, line of code. Then they deploy into their own development server, right? Then once the deployment, once the coding is done, when they're doing coding, they're deploying into their own environment from their laptop this time, during this coding time. But once the coding is done, now they need to give it to QA to test, right? When they need to give it to QA to test, then they will deploy it to QA here. Meaning code will move in a package from here to QA. Then you guys are here. You guys will check and execute the test case against this QA environment and different URL. Maybe qa.netjet.com. Then once it's done, then the code needs to move to here. The package of code needs to move to when all the QA testing is passed here. So my question, if you don't understand this deployment today, you don't have to. I'm not trying to get you all these things, but at least makes sense that developers put the code into development environment. When the development is done, then they move it to the QA. What moves? Code moves. This is called code deployment from one environment to another environment. And this is where the QA testing will take place. What do I mean by QA testing will take place? Meaning all the test cases that you prepared, go there, gear, put wrong ID, wrong password, click and see either login in or not. That's what you need to execute here right now. Each the test case. Maybe you have 500 test case total. Maybe 1,000 test case in a project. All the test case now you need to test against here. This is the same code. They deployed into you. Now this is the same software. Now when all these 1,000 test cases pass, there's no defects, then you move this code to production. That's when it goes to customer, which we will understand this part in the next class, because I can see you guys are already sleeping halfway. So it's too much to take in. But does that make a little bit of sense, at least, right? How the software development lifecycle works now. So it goes to QA testing.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. Absolutely.
Good. So when the QA testing comes, you actually, what do? Execute the test cases. And then do what? When you execute the test cases, right? Meaning that you are executing the test cases. Now, executing test cases what? Positive test cases, negative test cases. But when you are executing that here, right, and you are putting the right user, wrong password, sometimes defects happens, right? Sometimes you catch a defect, and that's your role. Let's say some test cases you're expecting to get login, right? Let's say you put a right email, right password, click submit. You're supposed to log in, right? But you see that you're not able to log in. That's when what happened? What do you do now? You're executing the test cases one by one. But when you execute the test case number 10, you found a problem. And this is, we call it a bug, problem, defects. And what do you need to do now? What's your job?
So we write it down in Jira and send it back to the coder.
Log the defect in Jira, right or wrong?
Right.
So you also need to learn how to write this. Pretty much this is your job. So you need to write.
What do you mean execute test case? Please explain.
Performing the steps that you prepared.
I see.
That's the
Like
main
you
role
said,
for the QA.
main role for the QA is to execute test cases, but to execute, you need to prepare it first. You need to get the data first, then only you can execute. When execute, then if you produce, because every test case is every requirement, right? And when you execute every test case, then the defect you'll find, and then you need to log the defect so that they can fix
the
it. You see,
defects in Jira, right? Or
right, log the defect in Jira.
Do you only log defects? Like that's it? Do you log if like something works? Do you log that, or you just let it?
No.
You pass the
If test cases pass, you pass the test cases.
Oh, you just
If
pass
test
it.
cases fails, then only you log the defect.
So if something passes, you don't log it at all.
No.
Oh, okay.
What would you log? Everything's good.
Yeah. You know,
In the
give it
test
like a
case,
check
you
mark
need
or
to
something.
make it
I don't
pass.
know.
Yeah. You need to pass it in the test case. You have already.
You need to make it pass the test case in Jira. You will make it pass. And
Oh,
in the
in
record,
Jira.
it
Okay,
shows
okay,
that
okay.
in Jira.
Okay.
And
I got it.
in the record, it shows that the test cases you executed and everything is good. It passed.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
shows pass. Fail.
Yeah. That's what I meant. Like for example, if something passes, you just hit pass. But if something's a defect, you have to actually write out the defect for that.
Right. Good enough. You guys are smart. I'm loving this thing. Good. Now we need to move on to next class maybe. I'm not going to give you any more today. So I'm trying to think, now that you have come this far, what should be the next? I think the next we should understand two things is important from here. One is agile. Remember? We don't know how to do agile. Now we know the inside of software development lifecycle, pretty much. And somewhat software testing lifecycle too, SDLC. SDLC and STLC goes in parallel. So now we need to learn agile, very important, next class. And then the following class we'll learn deployment part, code deployment part. And if you understood up to this point, then I think I will give you guys into my other instructors. He's gonna have you guys practice, give you a project, write test case, write defects, executes, all this fun stuff. All right? So 2 more classes, you guys bear with me, it'll be fun. But today I'm gonna give you notes and videos. That will
is
be
today the 3rd or the 4th?
today's start class. So today's start class. Now you're gonna have to start studying. Until this point, we're still theoretical, but we're getting into technical. This is your foundation, guys. If you don't understand this, you will learn a lot of Java, Selenium later, but your foundation will be empty all the time. Your understanding about the process will be less.
What is
right?
smoke testing?
That's a different types of tests we're gonna start seeing in next class.
We have access to the recordings, right?
If you don't have it, talk to Mr. Jisan. Everything should be uploaded into the LMS. You can rewatch them as you want.
Great. And then you're gonna send us the videos through WhatsApp that you mentioned.
I'm gonna send you a document that has lot of links, right? And it says step 1, watch these videos. Links are there. Step 2, class 2, session 2, watch these videos. Step 3, watch this video. Interview question, watch these videos, right?
Okay.
You're gonna have a lot of study, man. I mean, this is not gonna. So me just here to make your question answered. It's a live session, but you're gonna have to study them in order to become a QA engineer. So I'll give you guys are a great audience. I'll give you that, and let's meet next Thursday, right?
I'm just
Yes, sir.
curious. We were supposed to go over all the testing examples today, like unit, smoke, functional, positive, negative.
Let's do it tomorrow. Let's do it in the next class, right? What we have
Is it next
covered
week?
today, next week. What we have covered today is important to understand before we start going to the smoke functional regression.
But I mean, that was supposed to be on the 3rd day. I don't know if we're going behind or we are.
It's not about
Or
going
ahead.
behind or going fast.
As
It's
long as
going
we are
with the flow.
covered, at the end of the day, everything is covered. I'm fine.
Right. I'm giving you stuff as for the audience, right?
I see. I mean, at the end of the day, end of the session, some study materials would be great.
Yes.
If you could provide
Yes. I'm
some-
giving you the links today. And I think next class we're gonna cover agile. We're gonna cover different types of tests. It will make more sense because each of these different types of tests, you need to create test cases. So it was very important to explain all of these. And it's okay to go slow, but build a solid foundation. All right. So I will give you some materials today. And all right, guys, I think I'm gonna give you some materials. If you have any question, let's be in touch in Google, okay? And brother Smart, I think I'm gonna also share, since you asked, you have time to
it's
go
like
forward.
a long time. 1 week is long time, and
You need more materials. Okay.
yeah,
I'm gonna share some
more to
materials
study
with
and
you.
learn would be
Different types of
ideal.
testings and things like that. Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. That'll make you ready for the next class. Perfect.
Oh, yeah,
Actually, I'm gonna share with everybody.
I think that's a very good idea. If like before the next class, just sharing a few videos for us to maybe come in with questions or
Very
stuff
good.
like
Okay, cool. That is gonna happen, because now that you understood this, I think you can actually capture those. So thanks guys. I think next Friday I'm gonna give you a lot of videos after
So it
this.
should be next Thursday.
So, next Thursday.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, next Thursday.
Yes.
But by tomorrow, I'm going to give you all these materials. You guys settle down, watch this video one more time if you need to. And I'm also going to give you this document that we produce here.
And you help build the resume. Do you?
I didn't get your question.
You help build the resume, or you make the resume for us?
We will at the end of the course.
I see.
Our career advisor teams will make the resume.
Because I need to make like a new LinkedIn. I mean, since I'm already here, I would let you take care of that.
I think you need to focus. You need to go with the flow right now.
Focus
And then few months, 3 months later from now, when we're done with the course, we'll give you an internship. Once you're done with that, that's when we start making your LinkedIn. We start making your resume. We will do all of this for you. You don't need to worry about that. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Then ciao. All right. Take care.
Okay,
See you
thank
next
you.
week.
Good evening.
Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Bye bye.
Good.
Alaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum.